Okay, Tech Math 2. Chapter 7, 8 review, part 1. I already did this in class, but I'm doing it again on video, so you can go back and look at it again if necessary, because that was a while ago. So here goes. I'm only going to do the problems that are like on the test, so if there's problems missing, no worries. I missed them on purpose. So first we have to get the r, solve for r, so we have to get it out of that square root sign. So we square both sides because it's an equation. We get to do that. So 2r minus 5 over 4 is equal to 4. We'll say that's 4 over 1. Cross multiply and solve. 2r minus 5 is equal to 16. And now we want to isolate the variable. So add 5 to both sides. 2r is equal to 21. And divide by 2. And we're done. Again, you can be lazy, just leave it 21 halves, that's fine. If you want to change it to 10.5, that's also fine. Either one is okay. All right, on to the next one. Ooh, they made it a little trickier. Oh no, a lot trickier. Because there's S's in 2 spots, which means, and there's a number on the outside. So first, we're going to divide out that 5. And now, when we divide out the 5 on both sides, we end up with 2s over 3s minus 5. I wish they wouldn't use s equals 2. All right? So now it looks just like this problem, except it's still a little tougher because there's s's on both numerator and denominator, and you're going to see why that makes it tougher after this step. We square both sides, and we get... what do we get then? 2s is 3s minus 5 equals 4. And now we're going to cross multiply and solve. Except here comes the problem. I'm going to take 4 times 3s minus 5. That's not a big deal. We'll do the distributive property. And 2s times 1, which is just 2s. When I do the distributive property here, 12s minus 20 is equal to 2s. There's variables on both sides. That's why it was a little more difficult in this one. So I'll red rover the 12s over, get all my variables over on the right side. And then I have negative 20 over, what is that? Negative 10s. And now we want to finish it off, just divide both sides by negative 10. And 2 is equal to s, which is great. We should double check that since we squared both sides. We'll throw 2 in there, that's 4, that's 12 minus 5. So what is that? 4 over 10. You take the square root. Oh no, I'm sorry. 4 over 1. Take the square root of that. That's 2. 2 times 5 is 10. Done. That also works if we put in 10.5. That's 21 minus 5 is 16. 16 divided by 4 is 4. Square root of 4 is 2. Golden. All right. So let's look at, there's going to be 4 parts, likely 4 parts to this review. So, this is still just part 1. Let's look at number 3. That's 5 square roots of 3x over 2 is equal to 2. And also number 4, oh boy, number 4 is the square root of y minus 1 equals y minus 3. So this one, first we have to get rid of all these numbers. So let's multiply both sides by 2 over 5. And what that does is the 2's cancel, the 5's cancel. So we just have the square root of 3x there. Here, top times top, bottom times bottom, 4/5. All right. So now, if you want to make that 0.8 and just go decimal, that's fine. I don't care if you do that on the test. I'm not. I'm going to square both sides. That'll liberate the 3x out of the square root sign. 4 times 4 is 16. 5 times 5 is 25. Because remember, 4/5 times 4/5. Numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. That's where that came from. Now, it's still a little tricky because we've got to divide by 3. It's easier, instead of thinking divide by 3, think of multiply by 1/3. That'll be easier because then it's top times top, bottom times bottom. And the 3's cancel there. So we get x is equal to 16/75. Good. If you did a decimal version of that, that would be 0.213 repeating. All right. Number 4. Nah. This is tough because we have to square both sides, and there is one like this in the test. You have to square both sides. That liberates the y minus 1. But here, it's y minus 3 times y minus 3. And so now you have to do the distributive property twice, or FOIL, if you do FOIL, first, second, and last. But really, this and this. So look at what we have now. We got y minus 1 is equal to y squared minus 3y again plus 9. And so I'm going to write this on this side and that on that side. We got y squared minus 6y. We combine those like terms. Plus 9 is equal to y minus 1. But now we want to red rover everything over to this side. It's a second degree equation. So we're not isolating the variable here. We're just getting everything over to this side. And so now we got y squared minus 7y plus 10 is equal to 0. Oh boy, so now we have to bust out our sweet factoring skills. So we want to figure what multiplies to be positive 10 but adds up to be negative 7. Not a lot of suspects for 10. Multiplies to be a positive, adds to be a negative. It's got to be negative, negative. So negative 1 and negative 10, or negative 2 and negative 5. That's it. It's got to be one of those two. So who done it? It would be the negative 2, negative 5. So y minus 2, y minus 5. That multiplies to be 10 and adds up to be negative 7. So that checks out. And now we set both of these equal to 0. Because why? Because the only way you can get to 0 through multiplication is one of the two of those is 0. So we look at that as a 0, we look at that as a 0. Add 2, y is equal to 2. Add 5, y is equal to 5. We worked so hard to get those answers, so it's going to kill me to do this, but we got to throw one of them away. One of them is going to be garbage, I think. If we pop 2 back in, 2 minus 1, is that equal to 2 minus 3? And I'll tell you, square root of 1 is not equal to negative 1. 1 does not equal negative 1, so that is an extraneous solution, is the fancy name, but it's a garbage solution. 5 should work if we do 5 minus 1. That should equal minus 3. The square root of 4, does that equal 2? It sure does. So this one's good. That one's trash. All right. I think on the test, it works out to be the same answer twice, and so you don't have to worry about throwing one of them away. But you should always check. Anytime you're squaring both sides, you should always check your answer back with the original. All right, on to number 5. So number 5, we have v is equal to 1.11 times 10 to the 6th over the square root of r plus h. And then they give us 2 of the 3 variables. Of course, not those 2. It would be easy if they gave us those 2. It would just be a calculator problem. But they didn't. So here we go. 13,200 for v. We'll write that out as just a number, 111, and then 4 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now why 4 zeros? Because remember 2 places, 1.11 times 10 to the 6th. That's 6 places, so 2 of the places gotten taken up with the numbers, and that added 4 zeros to it. So 1,110,000 over the square root. R they gave us as 3960, and H we don't know. We're going to find H. So I guess cross multiply, get this out of fraction form. So we got 1320. Oop, that's 10 minutes. I'm trying to keep these. So this will be I'll finish up with this problem, and then I'll go. The next one will be on part 2. All right. So 1320 square roots of 3960 plus h is equal to 4 zeros. Divide 13.2. And so you end up with these really ugly numbers. It's not a terribly difficult problem, but just ugly numbers. So when we divide those two, we get 84.0909 forever 09. And now we square both sides, get that out of the square root. So that's 3960 plus h is equal to a pretty big number here. What is that? 7071.280992. So just working with some really ugly numbers. And then subtract the 3960, and h is equal to 311.280992. But they say round to hundreds. Round hundreds with a D at the end. Hundreds. And so that means 3100. I think it's in miles. Was from the formula. All right. So we'll continue with part 2 on the next video.